This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody, we are back. WFO Radio is back on the air. We got a big day today. All kinds of great stuff. And just seconds from now, we're going to check in with the Indy SRX Racing Series winner, who is from right here in sunny South Florida and quickly becoming like one of the best racers born in South Florida, talking about Ernie Francis Jr. This is a kid who I got to watch his career kind of blossom at Trans Am Series racing at Homestead Miami Speedway after being invited to go down and announce those races. Like this kid, Ernie Francis, 16, 17, 18 years old. And now he is running an SRX, and he goes out there and gets his first win out there at Lucas Oil Raceway, a track that NHRA owns, which is kind of cool. We'll be speaking with Ernie just seconds from now. Then later on in the day, 2 o'clock Eastern time, Brett Kepner, Drag Racing's encyclopedia, is back. Everybody out there in the audience has been really clamoring for Brett to come back, and we have made sure that his phone is fully charged this time. So we're going to have ourselves a great time. So you're going to have a lot of WFO to watch on YouTube and our Twitter channel and all our social media channels. And you're going to love this kid coming up. I guarantee it. I know we're predominantly drag racers, but some things, there's all this cross-pollination going on, right? Tony's hanging out at the drag strip, right? The race was at Indianapolis. A lot of cool things happening. Now, WFO Radio is not an accident. It is brought to you by some great people like the folks at Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. And Friday, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to go Hidden Horsepower live from Shaver Competition Racing Engines out there in California. Lake Speed, myself, going to learn a whole lot about engine technology. So be sure to check that out, TotalSeal.com. for information on piston rings. Obviously, 40% of your engine's friction in the rings. They can reduce it. Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs and everything good. Grills, tools, tips, information. Give him a call, 817-924-6821. He ships all around the country, and it's the Rodak's experience, like the best coffee from around the world, shipped to your door. Great stuff. And he's a racer. So get in on it with Marvin Rodak. Samtech.edu for all you young folks out there looking for a career. And you're wondering, like, what do I want to do? And I love racing, and I love being around cars, and I love working with my hands, and I love building, doing, and making. Samtech, that's what it's all about. Machinist school, block, head, CNC programs, motorsport EFI tuning. They can even get you set up with a career after you graduate. Go to samtech.edu. Tell them you heard about it on WFO. And I think you'll like what you see. There are literally Samtech grads that's not a good word, spread throughout the racing series out there all around the country, all around the world, samtech.edu. And finally, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the dragster adventure for you and your friends to go drive dragsters, or maybe you want to become a licensed racer, you want to drive a top alcohol funny car. All of these things are possible at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Stick around after we speak with our guest. I'll tell you about how to get some WFO radio gear, and shout out to our friends at Nitro Fish. But right now, it is time to bring on the most recent winner in the brand new SRX Racing Series, who hails from South Florida, like down the street, Mr. Ernie Francis Jr. Ernie, welcome to WFO. How are you?
Hey, great to be on with you.
I'm thrilled to have you on. We've always, you were born in Dania, which people from around the world maybe don't realize. That is just a couple of miles from where I am. I grew up in Hollywood, and to hear that there was like a young, talented racer who grew up in Dania, that was always interesting to me, because our biggest track with turns is Homestead Miami Speedway, maybe a little bit up there at PBIR. And now to see you go out and win an SRX, wow, that really brings it home. Congratulations.
No, thank you. Yeah, come a long way from starting off racing at the go-kart track at Homestead Miami Speedway in the little parking lot they had there. So pretty amazing how far we've come since then.
I was just telling someone about that track the other day. I forget who it was, but they were like, oh, we want our young guy to develop as a talent, and we're looking for places to race. I said, hey, that go-kart track at Homestead, that's pretty serious out there. People don't realize it, but you've got a lot of very talented people going out there and competing and learning, and that's a great place to get started.
Yeah, no, it is. That's where I got my start, racing out there when I was 4 years old at the Homestead go-kart track. It's in a parking lot, but right outside the actual speedway. But I mean, that's where a lot of the drivers down here got their start. That's where guys like some of the Fittipaldi kids, Emerson Fittipaldi and he would bring his kids out there, his grandkids, and they'd all be running out there. I used to go and go-kart race with them back in the day, about 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. What for? So we do the math. What are you? You're 23, did you say?
23 now. Yep.
The benefits of starting early. You've got all this experience and you're only 23. I feel like I've been talking about you for a long time. This SRX deal, you're 7-time Trans Am champion. And I want to know, before we talk about the race, like how it came together. The last time we spoke, you were getting ready to go off for a test session, I think in some open wheel series. And, to find your way to SRX where you get to race against Elio Castroneves and Tony Stewart, like, wow, what an amazing opportunity. How did it come about?
It came together through Ray Everham. I had met him about 2 years ago at the SCCA runoffs at VIR, and we had just talked a little bit there. Turns out he likes doing road course racing. He has a ton of vintage cars. He has a few vintage Trans Am cars as well. So I'd seen him at a few of the SVRA vintage races after that throughout the past year or two, and we would always talk, and I'd give him some pointers on his cars, and we would hang out throughout the race weekend. And he had brought up the SRX series and asked if I'd be interested in doing a few road course races for him in it. And then in the off season last year, he ended up calling me up and asking if I just want to do the full thing. They weren't going to have road courses on the schedule for this year, but if I'm up to try some ovals and some dirt racing, then he's all for it. And naturally, I said yes, I had to. It was such an amazing opportunity. The names of the guys that we're racing against is crazy, and guys that I never thought that I'd be able to race with. So.
Well, exactly. And it's not that what's great is you got a race win, and this isn't what you're good at, right? Like you're better at other stuff, getting used to these cars, being on dirt, crazy scenarios. Lucas Oil Raceway, what an amazing track. We'll talk about it. We do have a live audience, though. Blake from Ohio saying congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Saying congratulations on your fantastic win. And just so you know, my audience is predominantly drag racers because that's where I work in the NHRA, but we keep track of you. And so I think you got a potential whole new fan base out there to follow along with you. We had no race last week. And so the drag racing community, maybe for the first time, was able to just sit and watch SRX racing and kind of enjoy it. And here it is. You go out there, you battle Scott Speed, you're battling Bobby Labonte. Like, wow, what a great race. But the program seems to be working, like a nice mix of young drivers like yourself, classic guys that people know, like Paul Tracy and Willie T, who I'm a fan of. What is the event like, getting, like the flow of an event, SRX racing with the heat races, and you got all these personalities. Are people there to, I don't want to ask, is it serious, right? Because of course it's serious. I think you get what I'm saying, though. Like, what's the atmosphere out there as you guys are going through it?
No, it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun race weekend whenever we go out there. These guys, some of them are after their careers and they're trying to just enjoy themselves, but we all take it very seriously once we get in the cars and put our helmets on. And you see it even like in the practice sessions that we do. When we'll do some of the practice runs, we're all timing each other, trying to see who's quick, who's not, where guys are running to figure out what we need to do to try and win the race. And then you see it even more once we get into those heat races and those features. I mean, these guys are racing with everything they have. We're beating and banging on each other, and everybody wants to win. We're all competitive. That's kind of why we all got into the sport in the first place. Nobody wants to be the last place guy out there, so we're all trying to go after it. But it's a really fun atmosphere that they have going on. Natural environment with these guys where you can just hang out and talk, and it's not so formal, or you're at the racetrack trying to worry about a bunch of other things going on. So it's a nice event they put on.
How is the car compared to the cars you're used to? I know that Ray has, they want, my opinion of what I've heard them say is that they want the car to not really be the factor, right? Like it's as equal as they can. I want to mention IROC, but compared to what you've done in the past, it seems like it would be in the wheelhouse, right? Some big power, but a full-bodied car.
Yeah, the cars are fairly similar to what I'm used to in Trans Am. They're a little bit based on like what a Trans Am TA2 chassis would be, being that it's tube framed. The horsepower is similar. They make about 700 horsepower. Our Trans Am cars make about 850. But the tire is the biggest difference between what I'm used to. We're on a 15-inch Goodyear bias ply, and it's a narrow tire. It's only a 10-inch wide tire, so it's pretty small. And we're running a lot of laps on them. You got to be easy on the tires. You can't overcook them. They don't like to cool down very quick, so you got to just take care of your tires and make them last the whole run. But I think I've adapted to it pretty well. Kind of my driving style, I've always been able to adapt between different types of cars. Running open wheel cars, running my Trans Am cars. When I used to race in World Challenge, running for like front wheel drive cars as well. So I'm able to kind of adapt to different cars and what driving style they need to run. So when I get behind the wheel, I just figure it's just another race car that I got to figure out.
I love it. No, I love that's adaptability, right? Like you've had to do a lot of adapting over your career, and I think it's going to continue. So let's talk about the race at Lucas Oil Raceway, a track that is on the same property as, the most famous drag strip in the world. And whenever I go there, I go out to that track. Some of the best short track racing I have ever seen on television, of course, has come from that track. And it's kind of been dormant for a little while. And this was like a bit of a return, and great racing, like right out of the box. Great racing, wheel to wheel. Got this photo of you and Scott Speed, and you guys were leaning on each other. There was contact, but it seemed respectful, like not anything out of what was expected. So talk about racing at Lucas Oil Raceway and having to get a little physical.
Man, I actually really loved racing there. It was a very fun track. Practice, I was trying to figure it out more. But, in the races, it was really cool because you could run different lines. Guys can run up high, you can run on the bottom, you can diamond the corners off. So you have choices on where you want to race on the track. So it made it very fun once we got into a pack, because if you want to pass somebody, you can change up what you do to try and make it work. Our car in the heats wasn't great. It was probably like a top 5 car. We made an adjustment to it for the feature, and the car just worked great. It was on rails. And, I believe we started 6th for the feature race, and we were able to just work our way to the front, just making passes on guys. Our car will just cut down to the bottom, and I can get the power down and just make moves. And, once we got to the front, we were just trying to run our pace, save the tires for the end. And then we got to those last 15 laps, and we just had caution after caution. And those restarts were tough. Me and Scott Speed went side by side for, I believe, like 2 or 3 laps. We were side by side, beating and banging on each other. We had some big contact going into turn 1 and 2, where he fell back. I hit the outside wall, and I just stayed, and it kept going. It was some great racing, though. And then from there, after that, we had another restart with 2 laps to go. Me and Bobby Labonte went side by side through 1 and 2, and I was able to clear him and never look back from there.
Yeah, who gets to say what you just said? Me and Bobby Labonte.
Yep. It's something pretty surreal when I look back and see even pictures of the guys that I was racing against. There's a picture of me side by side with Elio and Tony Stewart, all in one picture. And I look at it and I'm like, man, I never thought in a million years that I'd be racing wheel to wheel with these guys. So it's a pretty cool experience.
Okay, on that note, I don't want to act like you're starstruck or anything, but the fact is that these are some of the biggest names, and you're right there with them, and you beat them. But when you look around, who's the guy that is like most significant to you as you were coming up as a young racer?
For me, I think it has to be between like Elio Castroneves and Tony Stewart. Those are both guys that raced a lot in the time where I was growing up watching racing. Me as a kid watching IndyCar and watching NASCAR, those were 2 huge names in the sport that I was a fan of. So to be able to meet these guys and race with them and talk with them and be able to actually like call them like my friends is something really awesome. And it's been an amazing experience. And I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I think it's great. And, Elio, right? 4-time Indy down here. So I'm sure you guys have got a great relationship. We know him a little bit as well. But 4-time Indy 500 winner, Elio Castroneves, right after he wins the 500, is banging doors with Ernie Francis, and Ernie is winning the race. Like that's what the benefit of the series is. Like that's what Tony and Ray have tried to put together, like this big name entertainment series that's not trying to run 30 races, but they're trying to bring in some racers from local short track racing and big personality. And like I said, my first really deep dive into it, and I think it's great. Now, this weekend, Wisconsin, Slinger, you're going to that one, right?
Yes, sir.
33 degrees of banking, the world's fastest quarter-mile oval. Track was built in 1948. I'm assuming most of these places you're going, this is the first time you've been there. Slinger, 33 degrees. That's definitely out of your normal wheelhouse.
Yeah, these are all new places that I'm going to. Never been to any of these places, but every track that we go to, we learn and we adapt and we get fast and we figure it out. Slinger seems like a really cool one. I'm actually really looking forward to it. Quarter-mile track, high banking. It's like a mini Bristol. So, it's just going to be, you're going to be up on the wheel the whole time. The straights are super short. We're just going to be constantly turning, running around there. I believe the feature's 150 laps. So it's going to be a tiring race. Hopefully, me being the younger guy helps me come out on top over there. But really excited to get out there and race with it. And, Wisconsin's always a super fun place to go to. The racing fans out there are unbelievable. We were out there for Road America last weekend. In between the SRX race, and that place was packed. They had 125,000 fans there, and they are some of the most diehard, dedicated race fans you'll ever meet. Every fan that I talked to said they were coming to Slinger next weekend. So excited to see how packed that place gets here.
Yeah, capacity 10,000. We'll see. How did your other race go? Forgive me for focusing on SRX, but how did your other event go out there in Elkhart Lake?
The Trans Am race at Elkhart Lake didn't go that well. We've had some bad luck with our car the past few races, and we had to start in the back of the field since we didn't get to qualify being at the SRX race. Made our way all the way into the top 5, and then we had a front suspension bolt break on us. So we had to come and pit. And, they got it changed. We went back out, but we were a few laps down. So we set fastest lap of the race and, just rode around from there.
I like it. Derek has a question about the SRX car since they're new. If you could add or change anything in SRX, what would it be? And I think they're shaping it, right? Like this is brand new. They're you put it on the track, you see how it's going to go, and then you refine it. I know that's their plan. Any thoughts on that so far?
If they can add anything to SRX right now, I'd say add a road course. That'd be a cool thing. They were really trying to do it for this year. It just didn't end up working out, but they do have some plan for next year. So excited to see how that works out. I think these cars would be a lot of fun on a road course. These guys are going to be it's going to be interesting to see how these guys adapt to it. Some road course guys, like some of the IndyCar drivers like Kanan and Elio, I think will pick it up pretty quick. But then you have some of these older stock car guys that don't have a ton of road course experience. So we'll see how it all plays out when they get the chance to do it.
Now, is there a points championship? I was looking for points, and how's that going?
Yes, there's a points championship, and we're actually second in points right now. We've had a really good season so far. Been very consistent with our races. Finished in the top 5 at pretty much every event we've done. Got a 3rd place at Knoxville and the win this past weekend at Lucas Oil. So having consistent finishes has kept us good in that points fight. We're just behind Tony Stewart, and we're just ahead of Elio Castroneves right now. So trying to stay in that top 3 for the remaining 2 races.
Love it. No, and I'll be watching this weekend. It's going to be great. So you mentioned at the beginning, and it's a great opportunity for a 23-year-old racer who's got all these accolades. But what would you want that opportunity to be? Like over the years, we've had a couple of conversations, open wheel, Formula One, Grand Prix style racing, international style racing. This kind of exposes you to a totally different universe. And I wonder, if a door could open, what door would you want it to be? Like, where would this lead if you could choose it?
Yeah, there's a ton of opportunities here, and trying to figure out where to go with it. Opportunities have opened up for me in all different forms of motorsport now. Being a road course racing, closed wheel kind of guy, a sports car racer, I didn't really have the opportunities growing up to do open wheel racing, to do any kind of stock car racing like that. So now racing SRX and then also racing the that F3 FR program that I do on the open wheel, it's opened a ton of doors where I have routes to go to in IndyCar. There's routes to go to in NASCAR, and I've never really had a ton of preference on where I want to go. I'm really happy anywhere with 4 wheels and a steering wheel. I think it'd be really cool to do a season in NASCAR, whether I get into a Truck Series ride or an Xfinity ride in the next year or 2. I think that'd be awesome to go and do. But then at the same time, I'd love to go do some open wheel races. Already kind of getting experience in that, I think it'd be awesome to hop into like an Indy Lights car or even an Indy car for a one-off thing. So you never know what happens. Just keeping my options open.
Well, with NASCAR going from, the 2 road course races for so many years now up to, I guess it's 6, they realized the evolution of stock car racing that road course races are fun and exciting. We've been saying that road courses are the new Bristol on WFO for about 8 years now, because there's contact, there's frustration, there's aggravation, there's all the things that the NASCAR fans love. And we're seeing it this year, like all the different road courses. I think that makes you viable in that area, like, hey, man, this guy's a road course ace. But also, remember, he went out there on all these crazy ovals in even dirt, and he did well in SRX. I think your stock is going to go up because of this.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think with the new next-gen car coming out for NASCAR, it's a lot more based on a road course racing car than what's previously been used. And every year they keep adding road courses to the schedule. They add more and more. So I think I'd be a good fit for it because not only can I do road courses very well, but I'm proving that I can race on ovals, I can race on dirt, I can adapt to pretty much anything that I'm driving. So I'm hoping that the opportunity arises where I can get a ride out there and show what I can do.
Your parents were kind of the stars of the show, though, like in those closing laps. Did you go back and watch the TV show? Like, they were super proud. And I know you've had a lot of big wins, but tying it all together with the family and the TV and the attention and the personalities and Tony Stewart and all of that, like, where does this win rank?
This one for me is my top win so far now. You know, just the level of competition out there, the level of the guys that I'm racing against. To say that I've beat Tony Stewart, Elio Castroneves, Bobby Labonte, Scott Speed. I mean, you have ex-F1 drivers, IndyCar champions, the 4-time Indy 500 winner, NASCAR Cup champions out there. So to go and say that I've won out there in that field is incredible, and that has to be the number one for me. And to do it with my family there watching, and to be able to celebrate with them afterwards was an amazing experience.
But as drag racers, we always want to draft people in. Like, you could see, we got Tony now. Tony is hanging at the drag strip, and Scott Speed is married into a drag racing family. I don't know if you know that, with Matt and Angie Smith, et cetera, and so on. So our listeners want to know, man, 300 miles per hour in a dragster. Is that something you've ever thought of?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think I would definitely give it a shot. Drag racing isn't too far-fetched for me. I actually, one of my personal cars, I have a C6 Z06 that I've been building to take to the drag strip. Been waiting till the weather cools off down in South Florida to go. But yeah, it's a NA stick shift car. Hoping to get into the nines with it. But yeah, I'd love to give it a shot in some real fast dragster. I think it'd be a pretty cool experience. And after talking with Tony when he got to try it, he says it was something you'll never forget. So I'd love to give it a shot.
Yeah, I love it. And Homestead Miami Speedway does Fast Lane Friday once or twice a month. And so if you ever head down there, it's just an 8th mile track, so you'll be running quicker than 9s. But let us know. That will be a lot of fun. And car guys, right? Like, if you like cars, chances are you're going to find something of value in every style of racing.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's always cool stuff out there. I've been to that event a few times, just haven't run in it. But yeah, looking to try and make it to the strip sometime this winter.
There you go. Ernie, congratulations on your win. Good luck at Slinger in Wisconsin. Have a good time, and maybe even bring home that points championship. I'd love to have you back whenever you're ready to come on WFO and speak with our audience. I can tell they're already, the ones who are just meeting you for the first time are impressed, as they should be. You got a good head on your shoulders. You got a good fam, and you're doing a great job out there. It was fun to watch you win. Good luck this weekend, and thanks for coming on WFO Radio Podcast.
Thank you. Great to be on with you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Ernie. Take care.
No problem. Bye.
There he goes, Ernie Francis Jr. with us here on WFO Radio. And, he's a very impressive young man. That's the thing. And how do you not root for him, right? Very impressive young man. Like, what kind of an opportunity could he get for himself over the next couple of years? And it's just wide open. That's the thing. It's wide open. Well, you got to go out and you got to perform when the spotlight is on you. And then the opportunities will find you. And he did, and he is, and it is great. In our archive, you can go back a couple of years, did a few interviews with him after calling the action at Trans Am Racing at Homestead. And the kid is amazing. Monica says, what does Monica say? Monica says, great interview, someone to watch. Exactly. Drag racing. We're all drag racing fans, but you need new people to watch. And Ernie is a guy. Try it in a funny car. Congratulations on your win. I wish I knew who that was. Yes. Boy, the body coming down, though, right? The body coming down on the funny car. Doug Gordon did that to me once. He said, get in here. Try this. It was it was a very interesting experience. All right, we're going to be coming back at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Brett Kepner, Drag Racing's Encyclopedia. And we're going to talk about drag strips. That's the one thing we didn't get to speak about with Brett the first time he was on. Like his historical drag race, drag track project, where he knows of the existence and location of every drag strip that has ever existed on the planet. And, I'm going to ask him about some obscure ones, but really, we'll see what he's got to say about that. And we'll talk about some modern stuff as well, his thoughts. But Brett did so well when he was on the show earlier this year that everybody insisted that we have him back, and he's coming back later today. And then tomorrow, we've got Hidden Horsepower, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You got to subscribe to their YouTube channel, Total Seal Piston Rings, or there's a Facebook group, Hidden Horsepower. You can join the group, or a Facebook page, and we broadcast to all of those locations. And you can definitely check it out as we learn about competition racing engines, which is really great. And I love doing the gig because it's like I just get to watch Lake Speed do his thing. All right, let me tell you about the people who made it possible for me to do this. And quick rapid fire through our sponsors, Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, totalseal.com, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Marvin, I don't have my coffee in here. Marvin Rodak, amazing. 817-924-6821. At some point, you're going to break down, right? You're going to be like, let me try this stuff. Let me try it, see if it's as good as they say it is. And it is. It is. Grinding the coffee, though, for me is mandatory. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com. You can get our 10-year anniversary T-shirt at Nitrofish at the trailers at the racetrack. And if you want to go into the WFO store, get some WFO hats, WFO crew shirts, go to WFOradio.com. Although I'm getting ready to close down the store, baby. I'm closing it down. Hey, shout out to our Patreons, the VIP Listener Club, patreon.com/WFO Radio. They pay a monthly for bonus content, bonus material, behind the scenes of WFO. They're part of our advisory board. Like, oh my gosh, WFO, what should I do? I go to the Patreons and I complain to them, and they give me feedback, instant feedback. Like, Joe, we think you should do this. And it's like being a part of it. It's like guiding the ship. It's like having your hand on the steering wheel. It's pretty amazing stuff. So we'll be back 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Not long from now, like an hour and a half. This was a quickie with Ernie Francis Jr. And I'm loving that the SRX series is doing well. Yes, other news. I was going to kind of keep the drag racing news on the drag racing show. But yeah, Alex Laughlin, Top Fuel. Wow. And what can you say about the power of Top Fuel, right? Like chicks dig the long ball, right? Like, hit and run and base hits. They're great. You score runs. Chicks dig the long ball. It's the same thing with Top Fuel. Like Alex Laughlin, this guy is doing outlaw radial racing. He's doing pro stock, amazing. He's won the U.S. Nationals. He's got pro mod rides left and right. It's amazing, Alex Laughlin. Yeah, I'm going to try to run Top Fuel. And forget the A Fuel Dragster. I didn't mention that. Yeah, I'm going to run Top Fuel. Alex Laughlin will be great in Top Fuel. He's going to be running Palmer's car. Palmer. Maybe this is the deal, but team owner. I don't know. I'm excited. Yeah, Tampa won a Stanley Cup, Titletown, USA. They won the NFL. They won the Stanley Cup now 2 years in a row. The World Series with the baseball team. The only championship that didn't get to happen was me over flying Ryan Ayler at Showtime Dragway in Tampa, which was underwater yesterday, by the way. Me and Flying Ryan were talking about it because people were attacking us, Big Dave, for not having the race in the wake of the hurricane. Turns out the track was underwater. So there you go. All right, we'll be back 2 o'clock. Your thoughts, your questions for Kepner. I want participation, folks. I want participation. Big thanks to Ernie. Great kid, great young kid, South Florida racer. I always say it, South Florida, behind Indy and Charlotte. We are number 3 for motor racing, and the kid's living up to the bill. Thanks to the folks at SRX as well for providing him. We'll see you at 2 o'clock here on WFO Radio, or in the future. Subscribe.